Hey, it's Alex Williams, the New Stack. I'm here today with two members of the Microsoft team, Stella Lynn and AJ. Great to see you both.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Glad to be here.
We're here at the Open Source Summit, and it's the end of the conference. And yesterday we saw Julie up on stage talking about really the journey that Microsoft has been on over the past year, and just the number of contributors that we're now seeing, for example, in the GitHub community through Microsoft employees, and the participation is incredible. So part of that journey is a story about app service on Linux.
That's correct.
And so, AJ, can you tell us a little bit more about that journey with Azure app service on Linux? That'd be really helpful.
Sure. So the app service in general is one of our leading paths, a platform for Microsoft. We wanted to bring a Linux offering to the platform that powers over millions of users. And we did that as a start in a preview, and we got a great feedback saying, it's a great product. I love the productivity that I'm getting out of this platform, but I want to do something more. I want to bring my own runtime. I want to bring my own dependencies and then stack along the lines. And that's when we realized that we quickly pivoted and launched a new service that we call it the web app for containers, that allows you to bring your own stack or containers and run on the same platform and use the same productivity.
So they can bring their own Docker formatted containers.
That's correct.
Yeah, and we're very excited to bring those proven past capabilities to the community, and I would say really lower the entry barrier for people who are Linux developers to bring their own container and deploy and run it in the cloud. We're so excited about it. So simple that you just pull your image from Docker Hub, Azure Container Registry, or your private registry, will just run it for you and helping you taking advantage of all the fully managed platform.
So just again, what you can do is you can take your container images to Docker Hub, Azure Container Registry, or your own private registry, correct? And then web app containers will deploy your containerized platform to Azure and provision that required infrastructure.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
That's correct. Yes,
Yeah.
We pretty much remove that abstraction where you don't really have to think about an orchestrator or things along those lines. Just point us to your container and we'll make them happen.
That abstraction is really critical, isn't it?
Yeah, so we prepare the VM for you, we patch the OS for you, we prepare the web server for you, so you don't have to develop all those expertise, and you just point to your registry or get it up and running for you.
So amazing how much things have been abstracted over the past five to 10 years. And you mentioned it helps developers be more productive, and I'm just curious how you can elaborate on that.
Yeah, just to give you a few examples, right? So whether you bring your own code or container, getting started with app service on Linux or web app on containers is a matter of minutes, right? And what I mean by that, if you were to be creating a staging slots for your web application, not a production right away, right? It's a matter of few seconds to set up that server and get going. Integration like, doing a CI/CD with GitHub, Docker Hub, right? And setting up those environments where your developers are constantly checking code in and testing this stuff out is piece of cake. Like, getting a scale, it's really nearly instant scale, because we allow scenarios where you can use a pre-provisioned shared disk and go from 1 to 10 or 20 instances in a matter of seconds, right? And things along those lines. Like if you have a higher traffic, you can do testing in production, deploy a globally replicated web apps and put them behind Traffic Manager. All these operations or abstractions that we're talking about is a matter of few minutes.
So that scale also means that you can have some elasticity, doesn't it?
Sure. So there are a couple of ways for you to actually set up the auto-scaling, what we call auto-scaling, but essentially you can define the rules like time-based, like say a digital marketing site, when your marketing manager will put some dollar behind your site, when the traffic will go up. So you can set up the auto-scaling exactly at the same time as your marketing dollar clicking. Or Black Friday is going to be a big season, you can just set up the auto-scaling very easily. Yeah.
Yeah, there are metrics that you can look after, like CPU, memory, queue length, and things along those lines to trigger the instance up and down.
So that leads to me some questions about the tools themselves. Why is it so important, for Microsoft to bring app service to Linux?
It's a great question. So one of the core principles for Azure in general is to provide developers or customers more choices. The choices that they are used to, familiar with, the toolings and the runtime that they love to work with and support them same onto the Azure platform, right? Linux was an obvious choice given, what we've been doing with the app service over the last 5 years with Windows, where we heard from our customers they want more support for different runtime languages like Ruby, the Python, the Java, right? And it made perfect sense to just support Linux from that point on.
So they're looking for more support from, for different languages.
Yeah, and I would say from a tooling perspective, I would say our core principle is really to meet where developers are. If you're using Jenkins, they're using Maven, we are not going to force them to our platform. It's like you're using your tool, but we'll make it easy for you to deploy to Azure as well, leveraging all the like what Azure said, like deployment slots and everything feature afterwards. But we meet where you are.
And with Linux, that just opens so much.
Yeah,
That's correct.
exactly.
So can you give me some examples of the choices of tools, languages that you are supporting right now?
Sure. So there are a variety of ways to deploy the Azure App Service. We're starting with we have a built-in support for tooling like Eclipse, IntelliJ, right? You can use CLI. You can have a great integration with VS Code or whatnot to just deploy the web app to go ahead with. And we take a step further, right? It's the day one. It's not about just day one story, the day two story, the DevOps, right?
Right.
Like how do I constantly churn my code and things along those lines. We have a great integration with GitHub's Bitbucket, right? Even the CI/CD with Docker Hub and things along those lines. That basically, even I think Maven, right?
Yes.
Jenkins supported.
Totally.
Circle CI, Travis CI, you name it, right? We all integrate with all these tooling the customers are used to pretty well.
So you have the deployment, right?
Yep.
You then have the DevOps capabilities with
Exactly.
it, and then you also have the language support perspective.
That's correct, right? So we right now support, and I'm blessed, just what I say, the variety of node versions, Ruby, .NET Core.
Like we were saying before.
PHP, and
.NET.
And the beautiful thing about Docker Container is you're not limited to runtime, right? You just point us to what you want to run, and we'll support that to begin with, right?
So it sounds like you've architected this infrastructure then to be able to expand even more. So you can you could add it to other languages as well over time.
That's correct. That's the goal.
totally. Yeah.
Great. So Stella, between the public preview and GA, what are some of the use cases that you witnessed?
Yeah, I would say we see a lot of customers using us for, I would say, external-facing web applications. Those applications like e-commerce sites, social apps, or digital marketing site, they tend to require elastic scalability, and they want to have very fast deployment cycles. They want to kind of change things very quickly, test it, and be able to release features very frequently. So those like the CI/CD capability that we have and the scalability cloud scale that we have really match their needs. And we are so open, like we support any language and having a Docker option for them as well. So it's a very good fit for them. Just to show some momentum, our app service image on Docker Hub actually already have about 5 million pulls. That's very impressive, just given it's a public preview service, GA last week. We are very happy about the community engagement happening there.
Are you seeing, what are the variety of sites that you're seeing then, on the service already, and the types of sites you expect to see added, as part of, the Azure App Service as more people realize it is on Linux? Right.
So like Stella said, the digital marketing, right, is one of the core scenarios that we go after, right? And their preferred choices are open CMSs like WordPress, Drupal, Joomla, right? So those are great work cases that we see. In fact, we've gone ahead and created default templates for WordPress, Joomla, and things like that for customers to easily deploy them to the platform.
Interesting.
Yeah, and we see also many ISVs who have CMS solution or digital marketing solution or digital agencies who work with their customers and use our service as a platform to serve their customers. Those are very common cases on our platform.
Yeah, that's fascinating, isn't it? Because I mean, you look at the historical, you look at the historical perspective for how you traditionally build websites. Agencies have put in that role where they have become essentially a service provider in many ways.
It's not their business, like to do all the plumbing of IT. Their business is to create a great customer experience. Same for our customers. Their business is in the industry. We provide the plumbing for them, and we abstract all the complexity for them to have a high productive experience.
Right. So just in conclusion, with this interview, give us a perspective on what's next. What are you looking at going forward? What are some of the things that you're excited about?
Right. So yeah, like I said, we definitely want to be supporting more and more blessed images to our customers. And what I mean by that, provide a built-in a turnkey experience for customers, like for Java, Go, and a different runtime to begin with. At the same time, we do want to build an offering that is more container native, right? So you can expect things along the lines where we allow customers to deploy multi-container solutions, play along well with our serverless computing, which is Azure Functions and whatnot, right? And have a sort of a microservice way of deploying into the Azure App Service platform.
Yeah, I would say I think we will really stay true to our value prop, which is simplicity. We'll kind of stay true to that value prop and try to simplify an experience for our developers as much as possible. At the same time, we are a platform. We want to kind of support as many languages as possible, and then we'll grow with the customer. We already meet where they are. We'll keep growing with them. The tooling aspect of it, the container kind of space, what are the trends and what they require from a PaaS perspective, we'll support that. And we are really working together with our customers to kind of develop it on our own. It's a community kind of driven type of engagement here.
Well, Julia said just yesterday, there's that continuous feedback loop that you now have.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Well, thank you, Stella. Thank you, AJ, for taking some time to talk. We're actually now going to be joined by Sebastian Gueskin of Binami and Jim Zemelin, the Executive Director of the Linux Foundation. We're going to talk a little bit more about this journey that Microsoft is on. So thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you.
Yeah, we covered all the bases. Yeah.